Welcome to Meet the Cast of Summers Past. I'm Cody, and each episode we will be talking with some former cast members and summer staff of previous dramas here at Camp Siloam. First up this episode, we don't have to go back too far to enter a world where we find a girl on a journey looking for her friends, but what she really finds is something much more meaningful than that. And along the way, she is guided by something much more powerful than just her own power as well. What is that power, you might ask? Please help me welcome our first guest of today's episode. He played the author character in Camp Siloam 2019's Once Upon a Story, Trey Hill.
Hey guys, how you doing? What's up? What's up?
What's up, Trey? How you doing, man?
Hey, good, Cody.
All right,
how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. So you had a lot going on playing the author character last summer. You had the white suit, you had the dancing, the rapping.
I'm afraid you'll be standing there for quite some time.
First off, what was your favorite part about playing that character?
Well, my favorite part was not even close. It was the rap. Just the energy that you get from the crowd. It was just amazing. One of the best experiences of my life, to be quite honest with you.
So a lot of actors and actresses, they have inspirations or for the role that they're trying to play, or they're trying to get their personality into that character to play it the best they can. What would you say inspired your character the most?
Growing up, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but it's this movie called Bruce Almighty, where Morgan Freeman plays a godlike character, kind of like the author that I played, and hands down, that's who inspired me on my role as an author.
Speaking of the author character, obviously you were the God character in last year's drama. What was it like playing the God character?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for me playing that role. That's a huge responsibility. I didn't want to play around with it or mess it up for sure. But a whole lot of my lines came straight out of scripture. So it was a different experience for sure. Because usually I'm the bad guy.
The Dark Dragon!
I got a trivia question for you here.
Yes, sir.
Who was it that you had the most lines with in last year's drama?
Last year's drama, well, the story is really about River and the author going through this journey. So it had to have been River. That's who the story is about, the author and River's journey together.
That's right. Yeah, it wasn't a trick question at all. It was pretty easy. It was just a lead into my next guest. Please help me welcome in the main character in Camp Siloam 2019's Once Upon a Story, Grayson Seba.
Hi, y'all. So good to see both of you. How are y'all doing?
Hey, pretty good.
You were the main character, Grayson, in Once Upon a Story last year, Ritba.
Ready?
I asked Trey this. What was your favorite part in playing Ritba? Was it the costume, the glasses, the singing?
Well, it was all a lot of fun. I think probably my favorite part of it was I did get to be in every day of the drama. And so I got to act with every single one of our cast members throughout the story. So I think it was really fun. Just, I got to be along for the whole story, following Ritva as she encounters all of these different characters. And I just really enjoyed acting with everybody that we had on our drama team.
I asked Trey a second ago what inspired his character, and it was kind of a Morgan Freeman-esque look that he had going on. But with you, when you were preparing for your role, that kind of took on a different meaning, kind of a more real-life, realistic meaning for you. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. Whenever I got the script and read it, I just loved the character of Ritva and this journey that she goes on. And she's really, when we tell this story, Ritva is really the character that I think we hope that campers will relate to. And I found myself really relating to her. We kind of told this story of a young woman who's trying to find what her place is in the author's story. And I think in my own life, especially last summer at camp, I was kind of at this point in my life where I was trying to figure out what is my place in God's story of my life. Because when I was 15 years old, my older sister, Shelby, who was also a camp staffer at Camp Siloam, she passed away at 21. And in my own life, I'd kind of seen Shelby as sort of the main character. And it was just, I looked up to her so much, and I just really, it was just kind of all about Shelby, and I liked it that way. And so coming to camp and playing Ritva this summer was really awesome. because I really felt, as the author in Ritva's story, you know, she comes to find out at the end that it's not her story, it's not anybody else's story, it's the author's story. Just as in my own life, I've discovered, you know, it's never been Shelby's story, it's never even been my story, it's been God's story, and he allows us to play a part in that. So it was really awesome. I felt like I kind of got to tell my own story this past summer at camp, and it was really awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So I got a trivia question now for both you and Trey.
Okay.
Another trivia question. Let's just say, who do you think out of all the supporting characters in Once Upon a Story, who do you think was the tallest?
Probably.
Well,
Trey, you want to answer it?
Well, I was going to say, out of all the characters with my hair, I'm probably the tallest, but second place to me would probably be Alex.
That's right. Yeah, you got it. It is Alex Pemberton. And so welcoming in our next guest, he was the drama team leader on our summer staff in Camp Siloam 2019. It's Once Upon a Story. But he was also Aladdin in the opener, but also the princely beast known as Suvi. Please help me welcome in Alex Pemberton.
What's up, guys? So good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, Alex.
Too.
I asked the other two this question, and so I'm asking you as well. When you played Suvi, what was your favorite part about that? I mean, you had a lot going on too, like Trey did. You had the goat legs and the I think you had some antlers or something too. But what was
Yeah, I had a couple horns. I would say my favorite part is just kind of the character is pretty goofy and funny, and you know it was not a serious role by any means, and so that was probably my favorite part, just kind of getting a piece in the play that made some people laugh. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
You actually had a kind of like Trey's dance. It was kind of his staple of his character. I think this was kind of your staple, but you kind of had that goat noise that was going on. Can you kind of give us a little bit of that so we can all reminisce? And
man, it's been a while. I should have known this was coming. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Is that good? Is that it?
That was awesome.
All right, there it is.
We'll go back now. We'll go back a little bit. What inspired your character as kind of the goat human princely beast?
Well, there's not a whole lot of famous movies or anything with a character like that, but there is in Saturday Night Live there was a sketch with a goat boy, is what it was called, and he would half man half goat, eat paper, and he would just belt out things all the time, and so that was I watched that a few times to try to get some inspiration.
I think from my point of view, you would have had to have been probably some of the campers' favorite character, just because of your goat noises and just the whole package you had going on there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure.
So obviously you were the drama team leader, and we have a drama team leader each summer on our summer staff that kind of heads up the drama team and kind of leads it, I guess. What can you a lot of people know that there's rehearsal that goes on leading up to the drama, leading up to the play and the performances, but I don't know if they know exactly what all goes into that. And so can you kind of go into detail about that and tell us what that was like?
Yeah, for sure. So as a drama leader, I was given a script, a stage, a set, and then like 4 or 5 of the main characters. And then we showed up 2 weeks early for staff orientation and kind of had to figure it out. Those next 2 weeks, whenever we would have time, we would be practicing lines. A lot of times it would go to really, really late, 11, 12, sometimes 1. We would just be in there together, working on lines, finishing up the set. And then one of the biggest things is actually the opener. We show up to camp and the opener is not planned. There's no idea really. So we just kind of get together, brainstorm, And then it's a lot of fun kind of seeing that come together that first Monday when we perform it for the first time in front of people. It's a really special experience, but it's definitely a lot of work.
Speaking of the opener, I actually have a part of it that I pulled up here, and I want you guys to kind of check it out and see if any memories come to mind as we watch this.
That's okay. Thanks. Things were going on
The
just fine
costume.
until today.
I
My
want you
life
to
felt
notice
exciting, but
right
at least
here,
I knew what to expect.
I unbuttoned my jacket right here.
One day I wake up and greet the dawn.
So smooth.
That was smooth, Trey.
One
Real
day
smooth.
it's time for bed, and I sigh and stretch and yawn. And in between are things to do.
Sometimes my boots would come unlaced during the opener, and it was always really exciting, hoping I wouldn't trip over my shoelaces.
Once a year I welcome the first of spring. Once a year comes winter time and the icy cold it brings. And summertime and autumn too. It all makes sense to me. But I don't have time to trust what I can't see. Once in a while, everything.
Now, if I remember right, Grayson, I think you said one week that flower wasn't there. Was that right?
Yes. The flower that I take from the tree and I give to Trey, we'd have to make sure every week that it was in the right place, because if I got over there, I've got to grab it real quick. And if it wasn't over there, it was always a moment of panic. So I'd always be backstage hoping that it was back there.
Here's Little Red Riding Hood out to take a walk when she bumped into Shrek, take it out of my swamp. Say hello to Cinderella with a glass slipper on. There's Rapunzel in the tower, hair is long. Even longer than Pinocchio can make his nose grow. When he doesn't tell the truth, everybody's gonna know.
Costumes were definitely really cool.
I can tell you about
That was one of my
Aladdin and the
favorite
girl
parts.
he digs, and he got as many witches. We got Little Pig. There's Hansel and Gretel in the
There's
gingerbread
Aladdin.
man, but you couldn't catch him no matter how tall you stand or short. Either way, cause we got 7 doors and he's singing high ho, so let's make some noise.
This part's fun.
First time I ever did my dance. I just had to think of something, because other than that, I'm just sitting around watching everybody, so I had to get involved some type of
Miss
way.
Mary Poppins with Jen and Michael Banks. Peter Pan and Captain Hook, gonna make him walk the plank. As for him, Mr. Frodo, what a shire. He's got
This
more
rap
written
was
rule
so
of all,
cool.
and occasion should inquire. That tricky feline is Puss in
Yeah.
Boots. With some fancy
And,
clothes, wearing straight out of Mother
A lot
Goose.
of credit goes to Adam Wheat and Mr. Lee.
So
Mr. Lee
Alice
was the
Wonderland
original
brought her
writer
with the Oz.
of this
Down to the
rap.
beast, and she loved him like it was.
And
Both Pete needs a beat,
myself
they
and
have a
Adam
lot of
Wheat
streets.
helped
People
him
do
put a
it
little
like
spice
this,
to it.
Master Sleep. By the time she pricked the finger on the spinner love, a spinning wheel, and needs a hands a press to give a kiss and bring her up for real.
It was really fun to act
You
confused
wanna hear a
every
story?
week,
I'll tell you
even
what
though
to
I'd
do.
seen it
There's
several
more
times
stories
by
in
the
it.
end of
Hover
the
till you
summer.
see the shoe. Let go of what you're thinking, no. Take a chance on me. I gave my life so you can live your ever after happily. Trust it with your story, it'll turn it off the hook. Because I am the author, so let's open up
Let's
the
open
book.
up the book.
Once in a while, everything changes. Once in a while, it all
It was fun to see everybody together again on stage.
you suddenly get it. He makes once in a while happen once on a story.
Once I thought that story.
I loved how bought in Seth Massey was to being Grumpy the Dwarf.
Oh, man.
He was the best Grumpy the Dwarf.
He
He
was
sold it for
great.
sure.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't imagine nobody else doing it.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
Once in a while, it all makes sense. Once in a while, you suddenly get it. He makes once in a while happen once.
Upon a story.
Once upon a once.
Upon a story.
Yay!
Good job. Good job.
So fun.
Did that bring back some good memories for you guys?
It's really fun to
Absolutely.
see everybody up on stage again, all together.
Right.
Yeah. Y'all did a great job. Everybody involved with that. It really did good and really came together well, and y'all performed it really well. Trey, how long did it take for you to memorize that rap, learn the lines in that?
It took me a couple nights. It wasn't easy, to be honest with you, but I found when I was on the stage, it made it a little bit easier for me because I'm looking at the characters, and that helps a whole lot. So even when you learn your lines, when you're on stage, moving to different places, it helps you with your memorization.
This is to all of you guys, was there a certain scene or a line that you guys had as your characters that was harder, like that you were like, that was hard for you to remember week to week?
For me, it wasn't necessarily hard. I didn't really have a whole lot of lines. I was pretty much one day had a good, any lines really. But there was a scene that I was always working coming up. I had those shaggy pants that were not fastened very well, and I had to like hop down, from the top of the stage all the way to the bottom, kind of like a side of a cliff or something. But I was always just worried that my pants were going to fall down every time I did it. And so that was I probably thought about that more than any of my lines. But we got through all 8 weeks and nothing bad happened. So
Praise the Lord.
Was there a particular scene that you guys looked forward to the most each week?
I love the very last scene that I had with Trey, and just like the whole last day in general was just really a lot of fun because you kind of see all the transformations. But that last scene, it just always felt so powerful. And like when Trey would go out and basically speak to all the campers, that was just always so awesome. That was my favorite.
Some of you may not consider your role to be successful or impressive, but it was something much more than that. It was significant. And you may not ever find your name written in another storybook, but just know it will always be written in mine. If that's the book that truly counts.
Are there any behind the scenes stories or any funny stories or memories you guys have from rehearsal or just any of the performances?
That whole video part of day 2 was just horrible for me, to be quite honest with you, because we filmed that video, Grayson. Was it the first week?
Yes.
Of orientation?
Yeah. It's our first thing to video.
I haven't even learned. I haven't learned my lines at this point. I don't know anything, and I fully get into character once I have my lines memorized. So I'm not in the character. I'm just basically saying my lines. And at one point when we outside, a bumblebee flew right across my face while I was saying the line, but they couldn't stop recording, so I just had to play it off and swat it away.
Speaking of you being in character or not being in character, you actually broke character and started a few times during the summer, and you just wouldn't stop laughing. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Shout out to all the campers for memorizing their Bible verses, because I have a line on day 3 of the drama, and we do a rap. I'm the vine, you are the branches. We do that rap the day before. And every time that line comes where I say, I am the vine and you are a branch, and then you hear the crowd of campers just say, branches.
He couldn't stop laughing also.
Yeah, I know. I was like at the back of the room, like, oh man, is he going to get it together? Like, are we even going to finish the scene today? Because it just kept going on and on and on.
We just learned to like anticipate that there would always be a camper that would do that during that
Exactly.
scene.
Yeah.
It was like
we had to get used to it.
You didn't know if they were all going to do it, but you could probably count on at least one camper
At least one.
yelling it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I have one story that I remember. That I was really just, I guess, involved in. But typically I would be like in the sound booth during the scene each day. And so, and I think it was Thursday night, maybe, or the end of the scene on Thursday where the lights would kind of flash and it would kind of be a suspenseful ending, and the
Snow
Snow
Queen
Queen would
comes
kind of
out.
like, the Snow Queen would cover Ridba up. And each week, like I guess the first few weeks, I was in a sound booth with the guys in the sound booth, and we were like, man, it's just like not like it's missing something, you know, like there's something that could be like more suspenseful, make it like more there, you know. And every week we were like, what could it be? And I think it was probably halfway through the summer or something like that. Somebody was like, what if Grayson screams? And we're like, oh yeah, let's try that. Like that's a good idea. What if she screams? And so, but we'd always forget to tell you. And so like, it was one week and it got to that scene. There's always a video that played right before it. And we were in the sound booth and we were like, oh no, we forgot to tell her again. And there was like 30 or 40 seconds or something like that on the video left. And so I was like, do I have enough time? Do I have enough time to go tell her? And so I finally just took off and like ran outside on the porch and backstage and went around. And I just remember poking my head in backstage, and you and Hannah were standing there like about to go on after the video. And all I said was like, Grayson, when the lights go out, scream. And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
And then
well, I just remember you just like popped in there, and I was like, oh my goodness, Cody, like, where'd you come from? And you're just like, scream, okay? And so I went out and did it, and it worked. And
yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was perfect timing, and it completed and made it a lot better. And so yeah, from then on, you ended up screaming.
Yeah, it was like we didn't know we needed that, and then it just worked so well.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here, but to end it, I think you guys have some questions for each other, and so I'm gonna put myself on mute and let you guys kind of ask your questions to each other, and then we'll wrap it up. All right?
So it's our time to host the show. I'm the host I'm Flair. Grayson, I have a question for you.
Yes.
How long did it take you to have your lines memorized? Because if I'm not mistaken, Alex, help me out if I'm telling the story. She was like 10 steps ahead of us during orientation, like one of the first ones to have all the lines memorized. And so how long? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I got my script and like before I had even decided I was going to play Ritva. And I read through it like a couple times, and then as you know, it started getting closer and closer to it being summertime and being at camp, I started having nightmares of like going on stage and like knowing none of my lines. It was like just getting on stage and like just completely like standing there without anything to say. And I would wake up and I'd be like, I've got to learn my lines. I have got to learn those lines. Like I can't keep having this nightmare. So I mean, probably a month before, I kind of started to like read through it more often, like kind of look over my parts. And then I remember we went on a vacation to Alaska, like right before I came to camp. And so here I am on vacation, and I am like going through, I think I would get through like 10 pages of my lines a night, like just completely memorizing them. And I'd like make my parents like read through the lines with me and have me say them back to them. And so then I got to camp, and I'm so glad I did it, because I would have been way too overwhelmed to learn my lines, and it would have turned into the nightmare I had. So yeah, I mean, it just took a lot of repetition, but I got through it, thankfully.
You did an awesome job.
Thank you. So did y'all. Okay, so I have a question for Alex. So I know I was on stage during the transformation, but I know a lot of campers probably wonder, how did you go from having goat legs and your horns and everything to being a regular human boy during the transformation scene? How was that achieved? Can you tell us about that?
I'm sure. Yeah, no, I'm sure that's a big question. It probably seemed very realistic for everyone watching, but so my pants were the hardest thing to figure out. So we ended up both sides were Velcroed. On Friday, I couldn't have I had bobby pins on them every other day, but they were pretty much just falling off. They were so big and the Velcro wouldn't stick very well. So I had this Velcro pants, the pull off shoes. So whenever I fall, the goal is to throw my cape over my head so people couldn't see me like take off my horns. So that was the first step. And then whoever's behind me, I think the Snow Queen had to put her like dress over my legs so you couldn't actually see like what was going on. But whoever's behind me kind of like undid the Velcro, took my shoes off, and then I stood up and there I was. So
Your souvenirs.
I had my souvenirs. That's right. Yeah.
I got some souvenirs.
Okay. Well, I guess it's my turn to ask a question. Trey, well, for the viewers that don't know, Monday mornings before you show up to camp, staff does a lot of stuff. We're working really hard trying to get camp prepared, and all the staff participates, even drama team. But it seemed like Trey was nowhere to be found. Like staff, we would all ask, like, "Where's Trey?" Like nobody knew. And just week after week, Trey was just nowhere to be found. We were all doing stuff by ourselves. So Trey, I don't know, what were you doing? Did it have to do with the drama?
Yes. But while you all were setting up the stage, doing all the heavy duty things, I was going to Fayetteville getting a haircut. So that's oftentimes that's where I would disappear. I had to go get fresh for that white suit. You can't have a white suit and your head looking crazy.
That's true. It did look really, really good though. So I guess it was worth it.
Do you guys have any last comments that you want to leave with all the viewers out there?
Well, I'd just like to say that to all the campers and the churches, man, I truly miss and I truly love all of y'all. Seriously.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me, guys, on Meet the Cast of Summers Past. For you guys watching, if you have any other questions for these three right here that were in 2019's Once Upon a Story, or those who aren't here today, any of the cast members, leave your comments below and you may get a reply back. If you have any question at all for these guys or for any of the cast of 2019's Once Upon a Story at Camp Siloam. This is the first episode of Meet the Cast of Summer Past. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.